Tori here from Overlook Horizon. We're back for another SpaceX live stream. I'm sure most of you were hoping that today would be Starship SN15, but alas, it is not. This is going to be Starlink, launch number, well, I guess technically it's launch number 26, but we call this launch 25. We don't count the first one because that was version 0.9. All the rest have been version 0 or 1.0, assuming 1. Version 1 something. They've been making upgrades. Anyways, you get the idea. We're calling it launch 25. That's what I'm sticking with, and I'm in charge. So, welcome. It's Tuesday, May 4th. May the 4th be with all of you, and we're gonna hang out here and hopefully see a Starlink launch. I gotta be careful not to say Starship because that's what I was planning on doing, Starship today, but since we're not going to have Starship, figure we watch Starlink, and we'll see what's happening. At least we'll see some kind of SpaceX launch today, and it's kind of nice that we're getting a Starlink launch in the middle of the day. The last, we've had quite a few over the last couple months that have been in the middle of the night, and I've kind of been passing on those as far as covering them from a live stream standpoint, especially if they're like super late at night my time, but this one, middle of the day for me, so we'll have a quick little live stream. The deployment is like an hour after launch. We've got 28 minutes about until launch, and deployment will be about an hour after launch. And but in the meantime, I'm gonna try to redeem myself between launch and deployment with a little bit of Kerbal action. Maybe we'll launch a Falcon 9, maybe a Starship. I don't know. We'll see how the day goes. We'll see how it is. But welcome to everybody. We'll do all our regular stuff. We'll get to weather. We'll see what weather's gonna look like. We'll see what our trajectory is gonna be today in case you're new to SpaceX live streams and you're just getting up to speed with what Starlink is and why SpaceX is launching so many of them. We'll get into all that. But before we do that, I figured we'd check the comments, see everybody sound off as to where you're watching from, what's happening in your world. If you're bummed that Starship didn't launch today, I'm sure everybody's bummed that Starship didn't launch today, but I mean, this is okay, right? That Starlink, we still get a rocket. Rockets, yay! Anyway, so I did see it. We saw a bunch of our regulars here. I saw a bunch of people saying May the 4th be with all of you, because today is May the 4th. It is, just in case you're watching the replay, it's 2:30 in the afternoon Eastern Daylight Time. I'll put timestamps down below in case you want to bounce around, skip ahead, you know, do the thing you do on the YouTubes or however this works here. Let's see what everybody's saying. Bunch of May the 4th. Starship SN15 just exploded? I don't believe that. There's no fuel in it, so I don't know why it would explode. Work's stressful today, so glad for the stream, says Hillary. Well, thanks for jumping in for a little while. Thanks for joining us. North Carolina here, Chicago here, from your guitar? My guitar? Why our guitar? What's the rocket for? Yeah, we should jump into that. We'll give the Facebook people some love. I saw over on Periscope. We got Kristen from Vienna, Virginia. We got Ian Taylor from the UK checking in. Brian Seltzer. Jeffrey from Maryland. We got all over the place. Everybody's checking in. Poland, North Carolina, Algeria. We even got Slovenia, Germany. We got it all. That's fantastic. Look at it. I see everybody. I'm just looking at all the different places. Cocoa Beach, that's local. That's right in Florida. You get to see this yourself. All right, so why don't we talk about what's actually launching today so we can fill people in. This is going to be another launch of the Starlink satellite. You know what I should pull up? We didn't do the last couple, but we should find out how many Starlink satellites are in orbit right now. I have that right here. We are currently at, there's a lot of them. So Starlink, in case you're not aware, this is SpaceX's constellation of thousands of low Earth orbit internet satellites, basically providing high-speed internet service to anywhere in the world. That's the idea. We're not quite at that point yet where it can be anywhere in the world, but they're getting there. They're getting pretty close. We got beta testers out there testing speeds and performance of it, and a lot of it is based in the northern U.S. and southern Canada. It's not even available for me, and I'm here in Rochester, New York. So I'm northern U.S., but I'm not northern enough yet. But they're working. They said that later this summer it would be available for me. Other parts of the world it may be later in the year, but they're getting there. So right now there are 1,505 satellites that have been launched into low Earth orbit as part of the Starlink constellation, but not all of them are still there. There are only 1,438 of them that are still in orbit. Some of them have deorbited. It's going to deorbit, right? Some of them have deorbited and they come back. They burn up in the atmosphere. They've been decommissioned. That's the word I was looking for. It's going to deorbit. And they're so we've only got 1,400, a little over 1,400 that are still currently in orbit. So a lot of them, but fully operational to cover the whole world. We're talking like 4,000 to 5,000 of these satellites. Well, that's full coverage. Fully operational is like 12,000 satellites, and that's with on-orbit spares and everything else. And then they've talked about even going up to like 40,000 satellites with different tiers of service. So you've got low Earth orbit and then a lower Earth orbit for maybe like super ultra crazy, high-speed service. There's going to be a lot of them, but the common thing that we always hear is there's so many, they're going to litter the sky, everything else. Just keep in mind, this is not a lot of satellites. It sounds like a lot of satellites, but the sky and space is huge. We've got a lot now, and they all have control systems, and they all have plans to deorbit. It's going to deorbit to get out of orbit in case they fail, in case something goes wrong. When they reach end of life, they can get themselves out of orbit to make sure that they're responsible spacefaring citizens. It's going to deorbit. So part of that is, I guess along with the fact that there's plenty of space, we're tracking those so we know exactly where they are. They can move out of the way of other satellites, and that many satellites, there's still plenty of room to get to orbit. There's lots of space up there, so we're not at that point yet. Now, where it does become problematic is maybe with astronomy, doing long exposures of the night sky. We'll have to see how that works out in the long run, but they've been working on trying to limit the brightness of them, the reflectivity, so that they don't screw up astronomy too much, right?
Space Lobster ate the T-Tub. That's the answer.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's get into let's get into what we're looking for today, and we'll jump right in. Let's see if this button works today. Sometimes it doesn't work. Will it stay? Oh, it stayed. Okay. Sometimes I hit the button and it switches here, and it won't stay on this view. So, hey, it worked today. So here's the trajectory that we're looking at here for today. We're going to the northeast. This is pretty typical for all of these Starlink launches here. So launching out of Cape Canaveral, Florida, this is launch pad 39A, the big one that we just launched Crew from not too long ago. The Crew 2 mission that launched from here just, when was that? Like 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Just launched Crew from the big launch complex 39A. The other big one is 39B up here. That's the one that's getting ready for SLS.
American astronauts on American rockets from American soil.
And but this one here, this is SpaceX's big pad. SpaceX also has another one. This is pad 40 down here. A little smaller one. This can't launch Crew, can't launch Falcon Heavy, but it can do Falcon 9s, regular Falcon 9s. Just not today. And then this one here, this is United Launch Alliance's pad right there, but we're launching from up here. The big one. Heading to the northeast, we'll have a drone ship landing out here. I think this booster, if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure this booster has now flown 8 times? 8 times. 8 times, and this will be the 9th flight of it. So we're getting to the point where some of these boosters are flying almost 10 times. Which is crazy, unheard of just a couple of years ago. So yeah, whoa! Okay. Flight Club freaked out there for me. So this 3D telemetry map here, our world has literally turned upside down. This 3D map is courtesy of flightclub.io. is pretty awesome, where you can run trajectories and flight plans and flight paths and everything else. So definitely check them out. They got all kinds of crazy stuff on here. If you want to see some of the telemetry and, you know, G-forces and velocity and all kinds of stuff, you can check that out, flightclub.io. But yeah, heading to the northeast here, go right over the UK there. There will be a second burn, real quick 1 second burn over the Indian Ocean, and then we'll get deployment somewhere around like here-ish is where deployment will be. And that's what's in store for today's launch. Before, I saw a couple of super chats come in. I grabbed those just a second. I don't want to forget about you, but we do want to take a look at weather here today. Looking pretty good for the launch site. We're about 80% go, 20% no-go. Primary concern is cumulus clouds and liftoff winds at the launch sites, but still low risk there. Higher risk, though, is booster recovery weather out here. You can see they actually highlighted it in yellow, which they don't normally do, which is kind of interesting. A little change to the mission execution forecast from the 45th Space Wing at the United States Space Force Station. But moderate recovery risk there for the booster. That's the booster landing. That's where the drone ship is. And then last thing before we grab a couple of your comments, I guess we'll take a look at the actual weather here. So they did say ground level winds were a concern. They're a little bit high, 20 miles per hour. It's like right on the edge of too much. Right on the edge. We could possibly see that. Maybe we get a window. I should fast forward this to 3 o'clock because that's where it's going to be. So they are dropping a touch. So we're down to 18 miles per hour. Somebody have to convert that to metric for me, but 18 miles per hour at 3 o'clock. So they're trending slightly downwards. Upper level winds were, I don't think they were too bad, but let's jump up to upper level winds. Yeah, upper level winds, not bad. 48 miles per hour. That's not bad. They're a little bit high out here, but that'll be okay. Let's see. Let's look at the ocean conditions here for the drone ship. Ocean conditions, okay. 5-foot swells. They're pushing up a little bit high. But it could possibly be these wind speeds out here at the recovery zone, because those are also up at 25 miles per hour up here at the recovery zone. So that's something somewhat of a concern, is really the booster recovery conditions. We'll have to see what they look like for there. They did say that they are go for propellant loading, which means that they're starting to fuel the rocket, and that is a good sign because that means that they're really going to give it a try today. Generally, they're not going to waste fuel if they think there's no chance of actually launching today. So they're going to give it the old college try here today. They're going to give it a shot. So, all right, why don't we jump in? We'll grab a couple questions before SpaceX goes live, which could be any moment here, and then we'll listen in together. We'll see what's happening, and then after lunch, we'll see if I can redeem myself with some Kerbal. No promises, because we all know how that goes. But then we'll have deployment after an hour, and then we'll call it a day. What do you think? Sound like a good plan? I think so. All right. Let's see. What do we got for comments? SN15 when? So there's our first when hop question for the day. So right now, as of right now, the earliest would be tomorrow. I've heard that the weather tomorrow is not going to be great. I haven't actually looked myself for SN15, but I've heard the weather is not great for tomorrow, so we may be looking at Thursday, but no earlier than tomorrow. Tomorrow's the soonest that it could be. So tomorrow or Thursday, that's what we're looking at. Let's see. Is this the one that keeps exploding? No, you're thinking of Starship. The Falcon 9 has not had, knock on wood, Falcon 9 has not had any sort of major mission anomalies in a very, very long time. So Falcon 9 is a pretty reliable vehicle at this point. But obviously we're gonna knock on as much of my table as I can because we don't want anything bad to happen, obviously. Let's see what else we've got for comments. Just tested my Starlink internet and had 35 megabits per second. I hope more satellites in the sky will help this out. That's from Rebecca. That's interesting. Yeah, so I've heard a lot of different speeds, but I have heard a lot of people getting 100 megabits per second. So that's kind of interesting that you're only getting 35 megabits per second. But I guess it's also how does that compare to what you had before? So I know the Starlink internet service, one of the big things, like, I probably won't subscribe to Starlink service for my house, at least not initially, because I have 400 megabit service, and that's pretty good. And Starlink out of the gate isn't going to be able to touch that. But who would subscribe to Starlink is maybe, I say this every time, but like 5 minutes down the road from me, they don't even have broadband service. They have DSL. Best they can get is 5 megabits down, 1 megabit up, and that's like super slow. You can't really, it's hard to run a business off of that. It's hard to do, like, you can't really watch Netflix off of that or any of that kind of stuff. So getting the people that are 5 minutes down the road from me, a little more rural, getting them Starlink service would be a huge upgrade for them. Maybe not so for where I particularly live, but I think someday it would be great to have some because we also have no competition, at least for me. Like, I have 400 megabit service through my cable company. There's no other option unless I want to go to DSL at 5 megabit service, which that's not happening because you'd never see me again. I wouldn't be able to do this. So yeah, that would be the question as to how it compared before. But I do think it'll get better. Even if you're only getting 35 megabits, I think it'll get better. What's going to happen with this rocket that is out of control? Will it hit anywhere or just break up in the atmosphere? Oh, I think you're talking about the Chinese booster. So China launched one of their Long March rockets that the booster is in orbit and uncontrolled, and it will re-enter the atmosphere uncontrolled. And there's a good chance that some of it will make it to the ground or to the ocean, but we don't know where or when. But yeah, that's a problem. That's not really great. Yeah, we're gonna have to keep an eye on that and see what happens. Is it gonna? Yeah, for Raimundo, he said, is it gonna deorbit? Yes, exactly.
It's gonna deorbit.
Yeah, it's gonna. That's the Chinese booster.
It's gonna deorbit.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Nomadic says it does pose a major risk to astronomy and exoplanet discovery, but Starlink significantly less so than other providers who are at higher orbits. Yeah, so we're talking about the impact of so many of these Starlink satellites in orbit. Yeah, probably biggest risk is really to astronomy. It's not so much a collision risk because they're being very responsible in that nature. Lots of room up there. They're actively controlled. They can move out of the way. They can deorbit.
It's going to deorbit
if they need to. So that's not really the big problem. Let's see. Oh, Kenneth's talking about James Webb Telescope launch in October. That will be pretty stressful to see James Webb launch, especially with how expensive that is. All right, let's listen into SpaceX. Let's see what's up with them, and we'll do some Kerbal after launch and while we're waiting for deployment.
Now, if you're curious, Starlink is a satellite internet constellation designed and manufactured by SpaceX that can provide high-speed, low-latency internet to people living in remote and rural areas across the globe. To date, over 500,000 people have placed an order or put down a deposit for Starlink. And with every launch, we get closer to connecting more people across the world. Starlink is the world's largest satellite constellation, made possible with the help of our Falcon 9 orbital-class reusable rocket. And today will actually mark SpaceX's 115th launch of a Falcon 9. Now, if you've been following along, it's been a really busy year for us here at SpaceX. So far, we've had 16 launches in 2021, including 3 high-altitude tests of a Starship prototype and a human spaceflight mission to the International Space Station for NASA. Just this past weekend, after spending about 6 months in space, we brought the 4 astronauts of the Crew 1 mission back home to Earth, and a little bit later in the broadcast, we'll be sharing more details about their return flight. Now, just under T-minus 10 minutes to go. All systems are currently go. Why don't we take a closer look at the Falcon 9?
We're going to get some Crew 1
You're looking
details.
at a live view of Falcon 9. That's our two-stage rocket. It's over 70 meters tall. That's greater than the wingspan of a 747 aircraft. And for all of you Star Wars fans out there, happy Star Wars Day. If you weren't aware, Falcon 9 was actually named after the Millennium Falcon. Now, Falcon 9 is twice the height of a Millennium Falcon, but that number 9 indicates the number of Merlin 1D engines on the first stage, which is that bottom two-thirds section of the vehicle. With the help of 9 Merlin engines, its objective is to accelerate the vehicle through the Earth's atmosphere to space, and then it will separate from the rest of the vehicle about 2.5 minutes into flight. From there, it'll make its way back to Earth and target a landing on a recovery vessel named Of Course I Still Love You, which is stationed off the coast of Florida in the Atlantic Ocean. Now you can tell from the soot on this first stage that it's been to space before. Today will be the 9th flight for this booster, and if we're successful landing Falcon 9, it'll mark the 82nd recovery of an orbital class rocket. On top of the first stage is our black carbon fiber inner stage. On top of that is Falcon 9's second stage. It has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine that will ignite shortly after the first stage separates. Now, it's the second stage that will carry our stack of Starlink satellites to orbit, and then we'll deploy those satellites just after the T+1 hour mark. Our satellites are safely enclosed inside the 17-foot diameter payload fairing, which is this nose cone structure at the top of the rocket. Its job is to protect the payload from aerothermal loads, heating, and contamination during the ascent phase. Now, once we reach the vacuum of space, we'll jettison the fairing as the second stage continues on to orbit. Today will be the third flight for one of the fairing halves, and the other one is brand new, and we will be attempting to recover each with a contracted recovery vessel named Sheila Bordelon. Quick update on the weather. As you can see, it's a beautiful day at the Cape. Ascent weather is looking fantastic at the pad. Recovery weather is also looking quite good. So with that, vehicle, satellites, weather, range, all looking good for an on-time liftoff just a few minutes from now. Now, if for some reason today during the count, if we're not able to launch, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow at 2:39 p.m. Eastern Time. As I mentioned earlier, today we are launching from the historic Launch Pad 39A. This is the same launch pad responsible for sending NASA astronauts to the moon in the 1960s, and more recently, helping bring human spaceflight back to the United States after the conclusion of the Space Shuttle program in 2011. Less than 2 weeks ago, SpaceX launched its third human spaceflight mission with a flight-proven booster and Dragon spacecraft from this very pad. This time, we had 4 crew members on board. Those were NASA astronauts Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur, European Space Agency astronaut Thomas Pesquet, and Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Aki Hoshide. That was the start of the 6-month Crew 2 mission to the International Space Station. And just 8 days later, after spending 167 days in space, the Crew 1 astronauts returned to Earth on Sunday, May 2nd, making their journey the longest duration mission for a U.S. spacecraft since the final Skylab mission in 1974.
That's crazy.
With NASA astronauts Mike Hopkins, Victor Glover, and Shannon Walker aboard, as well as JAXA astronaut Soichi Noguchi, Dragon autonomously undocked from the International Space Station at 8:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Saturday, May 1st.
Thruster firings
Spacecraft performed a series of departure burns to move away from the orbiting laboratory. You can actually see here those Draco thrusters firing on the Dragon spacecraft. We spent a little bit of time in orbit, and then had an opportunity to come back to Earth. The spacecraft re-entered the Earth's atmosphere, deployed its 2 drogue chutes and 4 main chutes in preparation for soft water landing, and upon splashdown, SpaceX quickly recovered Dragon from the water as well as the Crew 1 astronauts. Now, this was the first nighttime splashdown of a U.S. spacecraft with crew on board since Apollo 8 in 1968. Now, the crew, as you can see, were pretty happy, healthy, and really seemed to enjoy the ride aboard Dragon. It's been a fantastic couple of weeks for the human spaceflight program, and the team here at SpaceX is honored to have been a part of it. Now, we are just at T-minus 5 minutes away from liftoff. Falcon 9 is now moving into the final stages of its countdown. We're currently awaiting the transporter erector, or TE, retraction. The transporter erector is that structure, the white structure to the left of the vehicle. It provides liquids, gases, and electrical connections to the second stage, as well as air conditioning to the payload. And at just about now, actually, we should start to see the transporter erector beginning its retract process. So first we'll see that clamp that you can see right underneath the payload fairing starting to retract. And then shortly after, the transporter erector will move away from the vertical position to about 2 degrees away from the vertical. Then finally, around T-0, hydraulics will pull away the transporter erector farther from Falcon 9, clearing the way for it to ascend. At this point, the first stage is nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. Keep an eye out here for the transporter erector now on the right side of the vehicle. Should start to retract away shortly.
Get that clamp open, then we'll get
now,
a retraction
super chilled
here.
liquid oxygen, which you can actually see some of the gas clouds forming from. That's our propellant oxidizer. It forms those white clouds around the rocket as it comes into contact with the moist Florida atmosphere. We're constantly topping up the propellant in these final minutes until liftoff, and those small oxygen vents overboard form these clouds. There's transporter erector retracting to that 2-degree position. Coming up in about 15 seconds, we should hear a call out for prop loading complete on the first stage.
What's all the gas coming out of the rocket? So this is all liquid oxygen that you're seeing. The liquid oxygen has to get vented off as it warms up, so it doesn't expand too much, so you can fit more cold.
And coming up shortly after that will actually be a call out for the second stage completing its prop loading. Expect that call around T-2 minutes.
So they vent that out constantly. It's like 3 steps forward, 1 step back as you're loading.
See a little bit of the
oxygen.
wind there. Still gentle enough for ascent today.
So
after T-2 minutes, the next activity will be at T-60 seconds. That's when Falcon 9 will transition into startup. That's when Falcon 9's internal flight computers will take over the countdown until essentially through the rest of the mission.
So yeah, in the center of the vehicle, the black interstage, that's where the liquid oxygen vent is. The rest of the gas there is actually just condensation from the warm...
Again, next activity here is prop load closeout on the second stage.
We're going to see one final big vent of liquid oxygen right at 1 minute and 30 seconds. Right about like minute 35, you'll see the last big vent where they're draining.
Locks and fuel load is complete.
They'll drain all the lines.
Falcon 9, from a prop perspective, is ready to go. Team still not working any issues on Falcon 9.
They're going to, right here.
That
Here's
venting you're seeing there is nominal. Again, that's liquid oxygen from the transporter erector. In the lines in the transporter erector that we're venting, and as it comes into contact with the warm Florida atmosphere, turns into a gas and humidify and forms clouds with the humidity in Florida.
There we go. We're looking good. Coming down
Coming
to
up,
a minute.
transition into startup. Shortly after, we'll hear the final pull from the launch director, giving their go for launch.
That'll be about 45 seconds, and then we'll be good.
Flight computers in startup.
All right. Can we do it? Let's go. LD, go, no go.
Falcon 9, Starlink LD is go for launch.
LD's go. How about
Fantastic
the chat?
news. So with that, launch teams in the vehicle looking healthy, ready to go for launch. T-minus 30 seconds to go. Why don't we listen in to the terminal
T-minus 30
count
seconds.
for Falcon 9 taking our Starlinks to orbit.
All right, chat. Give me a go, no go in chat. Are you good to go? Are we ready? There they is. There it comes. Looks like chat is go.
T-minus 15 seconds.
It's gonna be loud.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff. May the force be with us.
Stage 1 chamber pressures are nominal.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
plus 40 seconds into flight, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from our pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center, carrying a
Nominal
stack of
power and telemetry.
Starlink satellites into orbit. Coming up, we have just throttled down for the point of maximum dynamic pressure, or max Q. That's when we experience the highest structural loads on the vehicle. That's from the combination of how fast we're moving through the Earth's atmosphere,
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
increasing our velocity as the density of the atmosphere
Look at that
continues to
shot.
decrease.
That's a cool view.
Max Q.
With that, we are through the highest structural loads on the vehicle. Upcoming in about a minute, we'll have 3 events happening back to back. First of those will be main engine cutoff, or MECO. That's where we will shut down all 9 of those Merlin 1D engines to slow down the vehicle in preparation for stage separation. That's the next event
Back
where the
engine chill
first
has started.
and second stages will separate. Stage 1 starting to make its way back down to landing. And stage 2 will continue on with the third event, second engine start number 1, or SES1. That's where the Merlin vacuum engine will ignite and then continue to propel the second stage along with the payload to orbit. You heard the call there for MVAC engine chill. That means we've started flowing a small amount of propellant into the turbo pumps on the Merlin vacuum to prepare it for the full flow of when we perform second engine start. So coming up shortly, about 2.5 minutes into flight, main engine cutoff, followed by stage separation, and then shortly after, second engine start number 1.
This is such a cool view. I feel like you could really see how the vehicle was controlling itself. Should be coming up on MECO and separation right here. There it
Stage
is.
separation confirmed.
See the stiffener ring break off the engine bell. When it ignites somewhere. There it goes. See you later.
Left-hand side of your screen, you can see a view from the first stage, interstage, grid fins starting to deploy. Second engine start complete on the right-hand side, that glow of the Merlin vacuum engine. Shortly, we'll see fairing deployment.
Fairing separation confirmed.
View from inside the fairing
There it
halves, you
goes.
can see them separating away from the vehicle. Now, as a reminder, we will be recovering that. Oh, awesome. You can see a view there of one of the fairing halves from going on back to Earth for recovery. As a reminder, we will be attempting to recover both halves with a contracted vessel named Sheila Bordelon.
Yeah, so Miss Chief and Miss Tree no longer gonna catch
First
the...
stage, left-hand side of your screen, grid fins are fully deployed at this point. Those periodic bursts of white gas that you see are from our attitude control system.
They'll no
So
longer...
the attitude control system giving some small puffs of nitrogen gas, reorienting the stage to get the engines down and the heat shield down for its upcoming events. Second stage burn continuing to look nominal.
Really trying to get a word in, but this doesn't want to let me say anything. Yeah, so they're not going to be catching the payload fairings any longer with Miss Tree and Miss Chief, the big
Now
ships
the,
with the net on them. They've decided to get rid of those.
To orbit. This first stage has a couple of activities in order to make its way back to Earth. First is an entry burn. It'll ignite 3 of its M1D or Merlin 1D engines.
See Space
That helps to
Mouse.
slow down the vehicle as we start re-entering the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere.
I see the Space Mouse.
The next
Not here,
event
but
will be
other view.
just before touchdown on the drone ship. That is a landing burn. We'll ignite just a single center Merlin engine, and that's what will bring the vehicle speed rapidly down to 0 for a soft touchdown on the drone ship. You can see the first stage reorienting on the left-hand side of your screen.
Both stages continue to follow nominal trajectories.
Fantastic news from the navigation officer that we're on our planned trajectories.
So booster land. Somebody said how long until
Now, the
touchdown?
first stage is targeting our drone ship named, of course, I Still Love You, which is
Yeah, first stage booster is going to land right around 8 minutes and 36 seconds, I think, 39 seconds, somewhere in there. 8.5 minutes-ish.
cool view looking out of the inner stage. Not too long ago, we had a second stage engine in there, which is what you see now on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, the grid fins, which are those waffle-like structures that you see around the vehicle, Those are more important once we get into the Earth's atmosphere. We use those to guide and direct the first stage towards our drone ship.
Booster's coming back down now.
And so
Reach
as we
apogee.
start getting more atmospheric pressure and force, as the density of the atmosphere picks up and our altitude drops, those grid fins start to gain control authority and help direct the first stage on its trajectory. Coming up shortly, on the left-hand side of your screen, first stage entry burn. That burn expected to last about 20 seconds. We'll be igniting 3 of the Merlin engines on the first stage to slow down the vehicle in preparation for atmospheric entry.
About 3 seconds from now, we should have entry burn coming up.
Stage 1 flight termination system has saved.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There it is.
You can see the plume of the Merlin 1 engines getting pushed back from how fast the stage is moving, rapidly decelerating.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Oh, look at it. Oh. Oh.
A successful shutdown of
Both
those
stages
Merlin
continue
1D.
to follow nominal trajectories.
Successful shutdown of those Merlin 1D engines. Next burn on the first stage will be at just after T plus 8 minutes.
We'll see if the camera stays with it the
That'll
whole time.
be
Usually,
the landing burn start, just a single Merlin engine there. And
oh, look at it shake a
around
bit.
the time that the first stage should touch down on our drone ship, the second stage will also conclude its burn
Usually
with
we
an event called SECO 1, or secondary engine cutoff number 1.
Usually we lose the camera feed right
Stage
at
1
cloud,
transonic.
right at cloud level. Seems
Call
like
it there for transonic.
it's kind of breaking up a little bit already.
To
Yep,
pick up
yep,
speed
there
in
it
the
goes.
Earth's atmosphere, sort of in that in-between range between subsonic and supersonic, meaning faster,
Oh.
supersonic meaning faster than the speed of sound.
It's back. Usually we don't get it back after this. Usually the next camera view we'll see is from the drone ship.
Beautiful views
Stage
of
2 is in terminal guidance.
planet Earth
Oh, that's not the one I wanted.
with our second stage Merlin vacuum engine on the right-hand side.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Startup of the landing burn.
Oh, here you go.
You can
here
see
you
the
go.
drone ship on our screen.
Land it. Oh, you better move over. You better move it over. Oh boy. It's
Stage
gonna
1
make
landing
it.
leg deploy.
It didn't look like. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Whew.
Looks like we're coming right down on target.
Boy, that made me nervous.
Now, listen out here for secondary engine cutoff.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
There's a first stage
signal, Cape Canaveral.
on the left-hand side of your screen. 9th recovery for this
Stage
booster.
2 flight termination system has saved.
82nd
SECO.
successful recovery of an orbital class rocket, and SECO called out at the same time, meaning the second stage engine has also shut down. Navigation officer will be doing a check of our
Nominal
trajectory,
parking orbit insertion.
and we are in a nominal orbit. So at that, second stage is going to coast in this orbit for the next about 35 minutes. While that's happening, you can take a look at this animation to see where we are in our coast phase. We'll be coming back here for a very short relight of the second stage engine to get into our payload deployment orbit. That'll be at about T plus 45 minutes. I hope to see you back then.
Acquisition of signal, Newfoundland.
All right. We did it. We got me a little bit nervous there for a minute. That was when they switched to that camera angle and it wasn't directly over. I was expecting it to be more centered over the top of the drone ship, but it still looked like, and it was hard to see because it was just cutting in and out, so couldn't really tell how close we were. But I was like, oh boy, we're gonna miss it. But yeah, so we're in good shape here. In good shape now. We'll grab a couple. I forgot about the super chats from earlier, but I'll grab the super chats here real quick, and then I'm gonna jump into some Kerbal action. I saw a couple questions, which actually we could probably explain with Kerbal, so we'll probably do that a little bit. There's the Starlink satellites right there, waiting for deployment. That's not going to happen for another 50 minutes, 50 minutes. So it's about an hour after launch that our deployment will actually happen. So So we've got some time here still, but we'll keep an eye on that. Let's see what we had for comments along the way. I was reading them as they went by, but I couldn't get a word in today. I try not to talk over the guy that's hosting it. I like to hear what he has to say, but occasionally I do like to add in my own little bits in case there's additional information or like frequent questions that I'm seeing go through in the comments. But I couldn't do that today, so we'll get to them now. Let's see. Nomadic says, remember in Kerbal, the flaming endpoint's down. Yeah, I have trouble with that. Why does a Starlink go into low Earth orbit? So the idea with Starlink, you want it in low Earth orbit for higher speed. So the further out you are in your orbit, we have internet satellites already. They're in geostationary orbit. They're way, way out there in geostationary. So if we look at our map of satellites, geostationary orbit is way out here. This red ring of satellites that's way out there. But if you look at the Starlink satellites, they're way in here. The blue lines right there. These are all our Starlink satellites, our web of Starlink internet satellites. So they need to be in low Earth orbit for better speed, because traditionally geostationary satellites are they're not high-speed satellites. They're high-speed internet. It's too slow. They're too far away. The latency, the time it takes to communicate with a satellite and back is too much for any sort of high-speed service. So Starlink, low speed or low orbit, high speed, and that is just based on that proximity. But you need so many of them because you can't just stay in one spot in the sky like you can with geostationary. In order to be in geostationary, you have to be in that orbit that's way, way out here. That's why all these satellites are there, because that's the exact altitude you have to be at to be a geostationary orbit. But to be closer, those satellites are going to fly by overhead. And you're going to need another satellite to connect to right behind it. So first satellite comes by, wow. The next one, wow. They're not quite that fast. It's like they're overhead for like 8 minutes or so. But for 5 or 8 minutes or whatever it is, you connect to one satellite, and then you connect to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And you just keep doing that all day long. That's the idea. Let's see. You got me nervous for a moment. Yeah, I know. I was nervous for a moment. I was like, uh-oh, it's going to miss it, but we're good. We're good. Everything's fine. And that is, yeah, so as Anita points out, the booster turns directly to the drone ship at the very last possible moment in case something's wrong, which is true. So the booster actually intentionally targets away from the drone ship as it comes into land. So as it's coming in, it's targeting away from the drone ship so that it does not hit, just so it doesn't crash into the drone ship. And that's actually one of the things that the grid fins are really doing is directing that as it's coming into land. And then when it actually fires the engines for the landing burn, that's when it's going to finally correct and touch down on the booster. But I thought we were already at that point when we got to there. I was like, oh boy, I thought we were like right above it was hard to tell how high up we are. Let me grab some of the super chats here. I saw Managard, one of our Patreon members, said checking in from Nashville with my third coffee. Hello. Well, hello, Managard. I can't get this one out of the way. I have to, let's see, we have to unpin this message. Will that, nope, that doesn't show it to me. I see Carrie Ann sent over a super sticker. Thanks, Carrie Ann. There was another one there's another one up here, but I can't see it because this thing is blocking it. How do I get this out of the way? Nope. Oh, we don't want that. Let's see. Let me just try to, let me see if I can get this out of the way here real quick so I can see. Oh, there it is. Wes Quist sent over a super chat as well. Thanks, Wes. And Katie B, another one of our regulars. SpaceX spoiling me with a beauty on my birthday. It's May 5th here now. Revenge of the 5th at 5 a.m. I'm so very okay with this. Well, happy birthday, Katie B. Thanks for the super chat, and thanks for joining in on your birthday. That's some dedication right there. Appreciate that. All right. I do want to get, I'm going to mess around in Kerbal a little bit because there were a couple questions. Some people asked like why the altitude was dropping for the second stage. I'll show you that in Kerbal in a second. What site is this? This is called Stuff in Space. How do you design for anti-collision trajectories with thousands of other satellites in orbit? So all the stuff in space is tracked one way or another by the Defense Department. So we know where most things are. Not everything, but we know where most things are. Like, that's what this website here is showing, is everything we know of in space. Some of it, the red stuff, satellites. The blue stuff is pieces of rockets. The gray stuff is just junk, debris of some sort. And the yellow stuff is stuff that's up there, but we don't know what it is. We know that it's there, but we have no idea what it is, so we can't categorize it. But so yeah, this is all the stuff that's up there. And I would also keep in mind that this map is not to scale, right? So this is, I'm gonna raise my chair up a little bit. There we go. So these dots are much, much smaller than they're actually shown here. So it's not this crowded in orbit in reality. Like, if you look at this map, you'd think like, this looks like the movie WALL-E. If you've seen the movie WALL-E, where, you know, the spaceship tries to blast through the atmosphere and it has to like bust its way through a whole bunch of debris to get it out of, to get through it. Like that's not where we're at right now, but it kind of looks like this with this map. It's not to scale. How does the website know? Well, this website, this gets its information from satellitetrack.org, which is, can I find, nope, space, or is it satellitetrack.org or spacetrack? Spacetrack.org. And I believe that gets its information from the actual, well, here, I'll just tell you. Well, it doesn't say where it gets it from. At least not that I can see. But I'm assuming it's from the actual official list here of all our stuff that's in space. All right, let's get to. Let's jump on Kerbal. We'll show a couple of these things that we were talking about here during the actual launch. Let's see, which camera should I go to? Maybe we'll go to this one. While we're waiting for deployment, I kind of want to do this one so that the timeline's up there. Maybe we'll just switch back and forth. We'll see. All right, why do we? So I think what we ought to do is launch a. I added a whole bunch of new things since the last time we did this, so that we could do all kinds of stuff. Let's see, I got Soyuz capsule, Soyuz launch vehicles. I got Atlas V, Atlas Agena, Atlas Centaur, Delta IV Heavy. I got a Delta II. Could have used that a couple of months ago. Mercury Redstone, Saturn 1B, Saturn V. I don't think I've ever loaded the Saturn V. Will this actually load? It's missing a part. Well, oh. No, we're missing a whole bunch of things. Bummer. I don't know how that. I'm gonna have to figure out how to fix that. But I know this one will load. Falcon 9. Oh, this is a new one. This must have updated in the meantime. Falcon 9 with a rideshare fairing? What is this? I don't know what the rideshare fairing is. Interesting. All right, let me see. Get this out of the way. Oh, there's even got a set. Oh, it's already got satellites ready to launch. I like that. Let's do that. We just pretend we'll run our own mission here. Oh, here, wait. Let's load that again. Look at that, just ready to go. It's got some CubeSats. in there and ready to go. Whoa. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Well, maybe we won't, because I'm pretty sure it just crashed. Where did it go? Okay. Well, it's gone. Oh, that's a bummer. It takes forever to load Kerbal, too. Because I have so many mods. They just load all those mods. Oh, man. Okay. Well, so much for that. We're gonna have to wait for it to load now. Okay, well, let's just chat for a while. Nomadic says the rideshare fairing supports the SSO or small sat operator missions where the cost is shared among multiple customers. Yeah, I guess I don't know what the. There it goes. Now it's loading, but it's gonna take forever. What mod do you use that has all the SpaceX rockets? It's called what is it called? Tundra Exploration, I think is what it's called. Nomadic Space Trek gets all its information from public and private sources, including the community that it locates and tracks covert vehicles and generates TLEs for them, including the X-37B. That's interesting. Yeah, I've never really looked into, and nobody's asked me where it gets the information from before, so I didn't really know, but that's interesting. Because I guess it would have to be kind of community members that track the TLEs for something like the X-37B. That's a little top secret flights that they don't really release a whole lot of information about those. Yeah, and as Time Waster said on that space map that I had up, which I closed because I was trying to save Kerbal from crashing, but that didn't go so well. In reality, you would not be able to see any of the dots. They're so small that you can't see them. So that's what I mean by they're not to scale. Why so well defined around the North Pole? That's a good question. That's with Starlink. There are no Starlink well, I shouldn't say that. There was one launch where we had Starlink satellites going to polar orbit, but 99% of the launches, with the exception of that one, they've all been at a 52 degree inclination, I think is what it is, 52 or 53 degree inclination, which is the highest latitude and lowest latitude that it hits, north and south. So there's no polar coverage for Starlink, with the exception of that one launch of Starlink satellites. And they said that this summer they're going to start doing more polar launches, but so far we've only had that one polar launch, and it wasn't even a full launch of 60. There was only like 10 of them on board. So there's only 10 Starlink satellites in polar orbit, so Santa and the Penguins are going to be waiting a long time for their Starlink service. Watching satellites in the sky as they pass, they seem to come straight at you, then take a hard left turn. Is that an optical illusion? I've watched a lot of satellites pass overhead, and I gotta say, I don't know what you're saying. I've never seen this phenomenon that you're referring to. Any satellite that I've watched pass overhead does a pretty slow pass just across the sky. Pretty predictable. If you use an app like I use, what is it called? ISS Detector. Is that it? Yeah, ISS Detector is what I use to track satellites that are passing overhead and get notifications when satellites pass overhead, so I can jump outside and watch them. Or occasionally I'll spot one, and then I'll spot it first and then look on the app to see if I can identify which one it is. Has SpaceX released what object was on the Crew Dragon for that possible collision warning they had on launch? I don't think they've said any more information about that. I haven't heard of it. There you go. Nomadic says Starlink's at 53 degree inclination, and their operational orbit is 550 kilometers. They don't get put into 550 kilometers at launch time. They start in a lower orbit. They do some checkouts, make sure that everything is good to go, and then they will raise to their 550 kilometer operational orbit over the next couple of weeks and months to get up there. The orbit that they get put into generally, here, let's see, I can actually pull it up exactly because I have that information. They get put into a this one is 261 by 278 is the approximate altitude in kilometers. The orbital parameters, 261 would be the perigee and 278 would be the apogee. It's the highest and lowest points of its, so it's not a perfect circle, but it's pretty darn close. 261 by 278 kilometer orbit at 53 degree inclination here. Let's see, how's Kerbal doing? All right, it's just coming back. Let's see if we can do this without it crashing. Resume saved. We'll go to here. Let's try it out. Try it out. I wish they would come out with a timeline of when states would get Starlink. Yeah, that's tough to do because it's not even just state specific. It's actually like very geographic specific, especially in the earlier days. Like there were like neighborhoods that were getting Starlink and like small cities would get it. But if you were outside the small city, you were out. So it's not even quite at that global of a scale where they can say this entire state is getting it. Okay, can we do this without crashing my computer? Oh. All right, it loaded that. Let's just go right to launch. Is there anything I can close on my computer? I just don't want the stream to actually crash. That would be bad. I'm gonna close all this stuff. Did I just close? Oh, yep. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, I thought I closed the SpaceX live stream. That's okay. That's good. Loading. Don't crash on me, please. It's very difficult to run Kerbal and a live stream at the same time. Okay, here we go. This is a nighttime launch. We don't want nighttime launch. We want daytime launch. Fast forward to tomorrow. Wouldn't that be convenient? Okay, so we're gonna send our rideshare mission into orbit. What do you say? All right, let's see. Hold on, let me get. Where is it? Here. I want to put up our HUD, our orbital information, so I know where I am. I don't need landing guidance right now. When hop? Right now. Starship hop tomorrow or Thursday. I'm hoping for Thursday. All right. We're go for launch the first Falcon 9 rideshare mission. Here we go. Did it already happen? No, oh, not that one. Oh, I know what I have to do. Here, go here. We're gonna mute that. Go back to here. And I can turn this up so we can get some rocket sounds. Okay. Oh, we need the epic music. It says Red Scorpion. Hold on. Where's my pump up jam? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Here we go. Now we're getting ready. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. Stage 1 chamber pressure is nominal. Wish I had chamber pressure. I can't. I don't have that information. Let's go roll program. Start our pitch maneuver here. Vehicle is pitching downrange. Alright, let's turn some of this stuff down. Let's see if we can actually get it. See if we can get it to orbit. Usually orbit I can do. It's landing that may be a little more difficult. I wonder, I don't know if I can get it into a 200 and, what is it, 261 by 278? I guess I'm gonna shoot for that, but that might be ambitious. We'll see. We'll see if we can do it. Alright, what are we at? 30 kilometers. Still got a long way to go. We're not even to space yet. Our apogee is... Oh, geez, our apogee is 130. I'm looking at the wrong HUD. Shutdown, separation, and ignition of the second stage. There we go. So now the second stage is pretty much gonna go horizontal. Right there. Okay, we're gonna try to get it. We're gonna try to get to the right orbit here. You can even like pitch down a little bit because we kind of went a little high. This is not the most efficient way to get to orbit. Let's deploy our payload fairings. Get rid of those. We don't need those anymore. Oh boy, our apogee's getting a little bit high. We're gonna be at 300 kilometers. All right, we're gonna burn this way. We're gonna burn down to stay in orbit. I know it doesn't make any sense, but trust me, I'm a professional. Trust me, I got this. Efficiency, yeah, we gonna get an F for efficiency, but we're gonna get there. Look at, we're pretty much burning straight down at this point. Yeah, that's that's not the way to do it. All right, so I guess we're gonna go into our coasting phase now. We are in orbit, so here's our everybody yelling, "Flamey end up, flamey end up." Yeah, so we're in orbit now, but we're in a very elliptical orbit. And so we're gonna climb. We're gonna coast all the way to here. We'll burn our engines at apogee to circularize this, which is pretty much exactly what SpaceX is gonna do. Maybe with a little better efficiency than what I did, but we'll do that. All right, let me see. A lot of people yelling at me to land the booster. I don't know. Let me see if I can switch to that, and we'll try to land the booster now. We'll see. I'll see what we can do. It doesn't usually go well, but I'm gonna try. Here's our booster, still climbing. We want to switch it to, we're going to spin it around to retrograde. Oh, I was hoping it would spin the other way, but okay, whatever. Okay. Yep. Good. Oh, I didn't really save very... I didn't save very much fuel for landing. I wasn't planning on landing it, so I didn't save very much fuel. We're gonna cheat. Turn on infinite propellant. Because I didn't save enough fuel for landing. If I knew I was gonna land it, I would have saved some more fuel. What, are we still climbing? Yeah, we're still climbing. Booster's gonna... The booster's getting a pretty high apogee here. 180 kilometers is the booster's going to. Cheating is for cheaters. Well, count me in. Boost back burn? Should we do a boost back burn? Somebody had asked. You want to try? All right, let's try a boost back burn. Let's see if we can do a boost back burn. So this is why they don't do a ton of boost back burns, because it takes a ton of energy to do a boost back burn. You need lots of fuel. I don't even think that's not even enough. I'm gonna have to go way out here. Okay. There. So we did a boost back burn. So we're gonna do this is an RTLS. This is an RTLS mission. Return to launch site. We got time. 37 minutes. We're good. I got this. I might cheat some more and bring up might bring up our landing guidance because it didn't go well last time that we tried this. Oh, maybe we'll just do this. That might work. We'll try it. Here, I should have just put this over here and then you wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing. Tori is awesome, but there's no way he's got this. Come on. Have some faith. The question really is going to be... I always run into... And I don't know how to fix this. Oh, wait, what is quick save? There you go, quick saved. I always run into issues with the engine. Oh, here we go. We're gonna shut this. How do I switch mode on flameout? Current mode, all engine. I don't know. 3 landing. Oh, center only. All engines. 3. Okay. Is there a 3 engine entry burn? Switch mode on flameout. What does that mean? Do I turn that off? Switch mode on flameout. I don't think I want that. Thrust limiter. No. Gimbal free. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Oh, we're overshooting. Yep. So if you could just like, yep, and we missed the landing pad, but okay. Hold on, back up. Missed the landing pad while I was messing with all that. Back up, load the quick save, try again. Boost back burn. We need to bring it in here. Oh, here we go. All right, we got this. Maybe you should aim for the dairy farm in Cuba. Right? Trying to do some corrections here. We're going to go to 3-engine entry burn. How come the fairings don't burn up when they re-enter the Earth's atmosphere? Well, one, they're not going that fast yet because they're jettisoned before you're at orbital speed, so they're not going quite that fast yet. And two is they're very, very big, so they can dissipate a lot of the speed quickly. Okay, all right. Jeez, look at the... Oh, and we should have done an entry burn. We're gonna burn up. No. No, where are you going? Oh, no, come on. Oh, grid fins. That probably would have helped, huh? Yep. Should have deployed the grid fins. Which one's the grid fin deploy? Grid fin? Grid fin. Yep, this is flamey end up. This is off nominal. Almost right to the pad, though. Yeah, this is called the dive bomb maneuver, and this is off nominal. Oh, yeah, put the gear out. Yep. Oh, good thing we had the gear out, that's for sure, because that helped. Oh, come on. What time is second stage restart? 43 minutes. We're probably going to have to switch back to them in a minute. 43:32. They're going to have second stage restart here any second. We might have to... Oh, wait. Put the grid fins out this time. What key is the grid fins? Who knows the grid fins shortcut key? Brakes? Oh, that's what it is. Brakes is what it is. Try that this time. Oh, wait. Here. Pause. Go to here. Oh. Don't put their music on. They should be coming up on, oh, is it 45? I can't read my own thing. 45. Okay, we got 2 minutes still. We're okay. Except I still gotta mute this. Okay, you need to, like, orient yourself for... Yeah, okay, wait, no, retrograde, come on, turn it, come on, grid fins, no, other way, no, yeah, no, oh boy, yep, this is, oh, look at, now the grid fins are the right way. Okay, well, SpaceX launch control, landing control, we've had an anomaly, thank you. But don't worry, the interstage is coming back, so we saved that. Oh, jeez.
Webcast. Now, if you're just joining us, we had a successful liftoff at 3:01 p.m. Eastern Time from Pad 39A in Florida. Successfully recovered our first stage for the 9th time, and we're awaiting the relight of our second stage engine for second engine start number 2, coming up just in a couple of seconds. This burn is going to be a very short burn, just 1 second, and that will help raise our apogee and perigee into the payload deployment orbit. So listening out here for the callouts. Hopefully we'll get a shot of the second stage's engine for that ignition.
There it is. 1 second burn.
Short pulse you can see on your screen there. Second engine start number 2 and SECO 2. Navigation officer will see how our orbit ended up.
Nominal payload deploy orbit insertion.
Fantastic. So with that, we have another 15 minutes or so to this coast phase before we deploy our Starlink satellites into orbit. Now, during this 15-minute period, the second stage will begin a small spin along its central axis. That's to give those Starlink satellites enough momentum to space themselves out shortly after payload deployment. So while we're getting ready for payload deploy, sit back, enjoy the space tunes, and we'll see you back here at T+1 hour and 3 minutes, 30 seconds for payload deployment.
Okay, so we got lots of time to go back and blow things up here. Let's try that again. How do I, let's see, close, load the quick save. All right, we gotta do better. Okay, we're gonna, yep. Okay, now somehow, I gotta get, we gotta mute these guys. Are they muted? There we go. They're muted. Okay. All right, let's do. Okay, let's do that. I'm gonna go here. Retrograde. Quick, fast. Okay. Oh, grid fins. There we go. Let's see if it'll do it this time. We're gonna need, like... We're coming in real hot. Uh-oh. Slow down, please. Slow down. Oh, wait. This way. Entry burn. Slow it down. Holy smokes. Okay, all right. We'll just land somewhere here. That's all we want. No, go retrograde. Back to here. Where's it going? No. Stay retrograde. I gotta use the engines for better control. Apparently the RCS is not enough. We just came to a stop, pretty much. All right, come on. You got this. Easy does it. Easy. Nice and gentle. Easy. Grid fins. Help us out. Coming in. Oh, give me a landing HUD. There we go. Okay. Engines on. Come on. Turn the engines on. No. Why won't they turn the engines on? Well, see, this is the problem we had last time. Okay. SpaceX landing control person. We have a software bug that when I command the landing engines to turn on, they don't do anything. Try again. One more time. We still got 10 minutes. Maybe it ran out of fuel? No, because I have the cheat turned on for infinite fuel. So no, it did not. All right. Oh, grid fins out. Grid fins. There we go. Your throttle was at 0%. I know it was at 0%. I was turning the throttle up and it was ignoring me. I don't think you saved the game with infinite fuel. No, it got infinite fuel. We're good. We do need to do this entry burn here, though. Slow down. We're burning up. We're burning up. Slow down a bit. Coming in hot. We're just gonna, I'm gonna run the engines all the way in. Because for some reason, they won't relight. And I don't know why that is. I feel like there's some sort of like speed limit for this mod where it, if the speed is too high, it just won't relight the engines. And I don't know what that limit might be. I just need to figure out how to do that. Oh, now we're gonna land in the water. Can we go this way? Boost this way a little bit. Go this way, we're missing, uh-oh. No, oh, uh-oh. Go this way. We need to land over land. Okay, now retro. We're going back up. This is not... Yeah, okay. Let's run out of T-tab? Yeah, maybe. We're just dancing all over the place. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to get over land. We need it. Just trying to have a chance. Okay, got this. Got it. Now we're over land. We're good. We're good. No problem. Okay. Slow it down. Slow it down. Keep the engines on so they don't just ignore me. Come on. Bring it in. Bring it in. Gear out. No! Oh! No, no, no! No! Yeah! Okay. Woo! Yeah! Oh! Oh, we got it! Touchdown! Touchdown! Oh, I better shut the engines off. Touchdown! Landing operators switch to recovery operations on procedure 10.100, whatever he says. Ah. Yeah, I don't know why it's wiggling. What, do you see this wiggle here that's going on? Look at it wiggle. What's happening? She wiggling. She's doing a lot of wiggling. Easy. Oh, all right. Okay, well, that wasn't so hard. Let's get back to our Starlink, our satellites here. How much time we got? We still got 5 minutes. We're gonna switch back to the second stage. Time to walk back to the Kennedy Space Center. Woo! Okay. It looks like a professional. Looks like unprofessional. Okay, well, close enough. Okay, wait, why is this go away? Get this out of here. All right, sorry, so we're gonna go, yep, and there. Okay, need to circularize this orbit here. And we're gonna get our satellites deployed. So while this circularizes, let's talk about Starlink here real quick, because this is what we're about to watch. So a lot of people get confused how the Starlink satellites are actually deployed. I like to show this animation. I'm not actually doing this right now. This is a video we recorded a while ago. But the second stage there is going to spin on its axis like that. Going to spin around, do a little spinorama, and then then they'll just let go of the Starlink satellites. So there's no spring pushers that actually push the satellites out. They just let them go. And because it's spinning, the satellites that are on the outside of the circle are traveling slightly faster than the ones on the inside of the circle as it's spinning like that. So it's making a circle, but you got different size circles because their satellites are closer to the center or further out. And the ones that are further out are traveling a little faster because they're covering a larger distance in the same amount of time that the satellites on the inside of the circle are traveling there. So because there's a slight difference in speed there, they just kind of spread themselves out like this, like we see in the video there. And that's how this deployment will actually happen here in just a couple of minutes. So, okay, let's get back to Kerbal, and I think it actually circularized here now. So yeah, we're 353 by 353. Not exactly the 261 by 278 that I was going for, but we're in a circular orbit nonetheless. We're in orbit. So now we could deploy the satellites, but I'm not gonna do it like Starlink. I'm gonna deploy them like this. I'm gonna do a roll program here. So I'm gonna turn this off. We're just gonna let it roll. Roll. And let's see. We can deploy them like that. There we go. Couple of CubeSats heading out with a bit of a spin. I don't know why you would want this, but that's what we're doing. Another couple of CubeSats deployed. And then this would be our main satellite, which actually looks like it has its own propulsion system. So there that goes. There's our main satellite. See you later. And let's see if we can null out this roll rate. Oh, no, I can't eliminate the roll. Do I have no control over the vehicle anymore? Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, here we go. Here. Oh, nope. Payload deployment not ready yet. Still got 3 minutes. We're okay. Don't let me miss it. We're gonna bring back the second stage.
It's gonna deorbit.
Right, because we don't need the second stage. We don't want to be putting junk up here. There goes our satellite off in the distance. You never had control, says Mushy Magazine. That's it's funny because it's true. Okay, so we're gonna need to bring this back over into the ocean somewhere. So here we go.
It's gonna deorbitate.
Right. Oh, well, this doesn't... I don't think we did that correctly. I think we went a little too far. It's gonna go, maybe we should adjust the direction so that we go a little more towards the ocean. We're heading towards population. How much time we got? 2 minutes. 1 minute. Oh, I think I'm going the wrong way. I think I want anti-normal. Well, we might just crash into population here. What is that? What are we looking at here? Oh, that's just... I was like, what are we looking at? It's just the engine, the sun on the engine bell with the shadow of the upper part of the stage there coming across the engine bell. I was like, this looks like some sort of alien structure. Look at all that. You can see that huge clump of solidified oxygen there. Up at the top, right. Where's my mouse? Right here. Look at that huge clump there. They should be coming back for deployment here in like 1 minute. So I don't want to miss it, but I'm trying to adjust my orbit. I probably should have done it like over. Oh, they're back.
Mission. And we're close to the end of today's mission. We had an on-time liftoff at 3:01 p.m. Eastern Time. Successfully recovered our first stage booster, and our second stage, which you can see on your screen now, had 2 successful ignitions and shutdowns of its Merlin vacuum engine. Coming up shortly, we'll see payload deployment of the Starlink satellites.
This pin right here.
Now, during the 15 minutes since our last burn, the second stage has picked up a small rotation intentionally to help us separate out the satellites after payload deployment. And once the satellites have separated from the spacecraft, they will continue on with the rest of their mission, ultimately ending up in an operational orbit about 550
there goes the pin.
kilometers above the Earth.
Released, and then they'll just spread out. They don't get pushed off or anything. They're just...
Fantastic shot of the payload separating away with the horizon of planet Earth. So shortly from here, the Starlink satellites will deploy their solar arrays, and then over the next few days and weeks, they'll use their onboard ion thrusters to make their way into an operational orbit.
The sun is creating some weird flares on the lens.
That's going to bring our webcast coverage to a close. We want to give a big thanks to the Range and the Federal Aviation Administration for supporting today's mission. Now, if you're interested in Starlink service, head on over to starlink.com to find out more details. Thank you so much for joining us, and may the 4th be with you.
Cool. All right. Well, there's that. All right. Back to this section here. We need to like warp to here. And then see if we can burn our engines so that we end up in the ocean. There we go. All right. That's better. Now at least our second stage, it's gonna burn up in the atmosphere here. Get rid of that. Okay. And yeah, so the second stage, after Starlink deploys, or after it, most satellites deploy. Sometimes they can get boosted into like a graveyard orbit, but for the most part, most of the time, Falcon 9 second stage, it's gonna
deorbitate.
Right, it's gonna deorbitate. Gonna come back. It's gonna burn up in the atmosphere, and that's what happens. How do I want to like adjust my camera view. I don't want it to be sideways like this, but all right, whatever. There it is. Just start an entry interface. Pretty much. I don't know how much control they have over it when they bring it back in, but try to land it. I'm not gonna try to land this one. We're gonna let this could be like a real mission here. We're gonna let it. We're gonna let it.
It's gonna deorbitate.
Yeah, do its thing. Make sure you don't miss Earth. I think we got that. We're good. Don't touch anything. I want to see... Well, so I'm trying to like... Let's see, there it goes. This is probably... I don't know, we probably could start the engines because it's probably going to survive, to be honest. I mean, it's coming screaming into the atmosphere because we were just at orbital speeds, pretty much. And I actually slowed it down quite a bit for the deorbit burn, but it really wouldn't need that much to slow it down. Like, it just needs to just kind of skim the atmosphere to start scrubbing off that speed there with the atmosphere. Why not shoot them into the sun with a camera? That is actually, like, it is very difficult to get to the sun because you essentially have to scrub off. So to get to the sun, you have to stop moving, basically, which is way harder than it sounds. You have to scrub off all the speed of your spacecraft, but the entire speed of the Earth, and that is very, very difficult to do. It takes a ton of fuel to get to the sun. It's easier to get to Mars than it is to get to the sun. Very difficult to get to the sun. Landing control, SpaceX landing control operator. Second stage has deorbitated. Thank you. Over. Okay, so there's that one. Now let's go back to, oh, look at our satellites all communicating. Oh, that's so pretty. Look at them all. Look at all our satellites communicating with Earth here now. All our CubeSats that we deployed. I don't know which one's which, though. We got a... How do I don't know which one's... Can I not switch to them? Maybe I... Oh, no? Let's go to the tracking station. I want to get to... I don't know which one's which. These are all our satellites we just deployed. Probability says I'm gonna pick a CubeSat, which is not what I want, but we're gonna try. It's loading. Landing legs, quick. Yeah, no landing legs on the second stage. Get out of here! I picked the right one on the first try. Look at that. There's our little satellite that we got. With its own propulsion system. That's kind of cool. So if we wanted to raise our orbit here, we could go, let's see, let's boost it. What is, does anybody know When are you ending the stream? In a minute. Does anybody know what is the apogee in Kerbal for geostationary / Kerbal stationary? What is, let's see, the altitude. Synchronous orbit is 2868.75 kilometers. What did I say? 2868.75 kilometers. Okay. Go. We're gonna let... Oh, jeez, that was a little bit loud. We're gonna have our little itty bitty tiny spacecraft. So now it's not that big now, and we can just add a little bit of delta V here. We're gonna raise our apogee way out there. And now we will circularize. So look, now here's our apogee now, way out here. We're gonna go out to here, make this maneuver. So we're in this green elliptical, bluish green elliptical orbit right now. So we're doing a Hohmann transfer essentially. So we went from a circular orbit, we burned our engines to raise our apogee way up here, and now we gotta coast. So the spacecraft is gonna coast up here. We're gonna fast forward. Gonna coast up to apogee. And then we'll do another burn that will extend the perigee, or the periapsis here. It's gonna extend that out to this dotted yellow line here to circularize our orbit. So here we go. Burn our engines. Get it up here. And now we are just a little bit more. And there. Now we're officially in geostationary Kerbin orbit. So we are pinned over this spot above Kerbin / Earth. 28. Oh, we're 2866. Well, that's not right. Can we, should we adjust it just a tiny bit to actually boost it up? We need, like, the tiniest bit of... We need, like, 0.1 meters per second. We need to boost to get up to... Now we're making, like, little itty-bitty tiny adjustments. Because we're not quite there! But yeah, see how you can actually see as I'm time warping, we're pretty much in geostationary. The Earth is spinning along with us. And we're pretty much directly over the Kerbal Space Center. Just gonna circularize that just a tiny bit. It's still, well, it's gonna be close enough. 2868. There's the moon. That's not what we want. Where is it? Right there. So there. Here's our satellite. So now we could even, we could point this radial in. And there's our satellite. Providing service to Earth now. Right there, transmit some data. We have sun exposure. We got solar panels, generating power. We're good to go. Look at that. Cool. So now our main satellite just boosted itself into geostationary orbit. We got all our little tiny CubeSats that are in low Earth orbit. We're good to go. There's our mission. We just did it. All right. Well, I guess, let me see. Did I miss any comments before we end it here? Data received, says Michael over on Periscope. See, kids, it's just that easy. This is Monkey DKS. What is this software? This is called Kerbal Space Program. It's pretty awesome. It's kind of inexpensive, and it's very much worth it. Let's see, let's focus on there so it stays in the center of the screen for you while I chat for a second, and then we'll probably wrap it up. What happens if we give a rocket constant velocity less than escape velocity? Does it will escape? Will it escape? Well, no. If it's constant velocity and it's less than escape velocity, you're not going to escape. You're going to be either suborbital or orbital, depending on what that constant velocity is. So, in order to be constant velocity, you have to be in a perfectly circular orbit, because if you're elliptical, your perigee is always going to be a little bit faster than your apogee. So if you're going to be perfectly constant speed, you're going to be in a perfectly circular orbit. And if it's less than escape velocity, you're going to be orbiting your whatever you're orbiting around, Earth, I guess. And Graham says there's no escape. There's no escape from the Space Lobster Nation.
Space Lobster ate the T-Teb. That's the answer.
All right. Well, you better say nice things about that lobster. Lobster's not even here to defend himself. Lobster's only in Discord. I want a job where I can live stream and play video games all day. Well, this actually isn't my job. I'm actually going to go back to work now. But it's a fun break from work for a little while we get to hang out and chat it up and explain some stuff with Kerbal Space Program. But it does remind me that I do have to go back and do some regular work. But if you want to stick around and chat with us a little bit more, consider joining our Discord. Because that's free. There's no obligation there. You can just join it and chat it up with some like-minded space individuals. I'm in there. There's some other people in there. A lot of space talk in there. We'll probably be talking a lot about SN15 tomorrow, maybe Thursday. We'll see. I'm going to try to cover SN15 tomorrow or Thursday. I do have some stuff going on at the end of the day tomorrow, so that might be. Hopefully, it's not the end of the day tomorrow, but if it's Thursday, we should be good to go. So, all right, friends, thanks for joining us here today. I think that's gonna do it for me. Had some fun. We saw a Starlink launch. We've had some fun in Kerbal. We did our own mission. And as always, thank you guys for watching. And thanks, of course, to all of our Patreon members and YouTube channel members that help make stuff like this possible by supporting the channel. It all goes to Overlook Horizon, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and helps make sure that we can keep doing stuff like this. So thanks for all your support. Thanks for hanging in there. And we'll be back. Hopefully the next one will be Starship SN15, either tomorrow or Thursday. So maybe we'll see you then, or I'll see you in Discord. My name's Tori. This is Overlook Horizon. I'll see you soon. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.